Okay, welcome Filth Weavers. Welcome Filthy Weavers. Yeah, I just recorded that intro and then I was thinking I want to go into some readings for you. So have a couple decks here and I was gonna pull some cards. So yeah, if you want to along with me whatever time you're watching this through the quantum field, just feel into whatever is most alive for you, and then feel into maybe the edges, bringing you into the present moment with your breath. Feeling into the parts of you that maybe you've been conditioned to feel are broken or incomplete or not worthy or too much or not enough. Just feeling into those tender parts of ourselves. Yeah. And should I do a pick a card for y'all? Yeah, you want to pick a card? Okay. So let's do 3 piles and asking what filth wants to be integrated into our lives more. What filth wants to be woven back into the tapestry, the colors and the pictures that we allow into our lives. What filth, what rich soils, the beds that life springs from, the resting place in the unknown. What wants to be revealed to the Filth Weaver Collective in this message? We're going to have 3 piles. And I'm going to be using a couple decks. One is Nina Brunjavec, her Major Arcana deck, and the Liberation Tarot. Bloop. And yeah, just gonna see what comes through for each of you. I'm just tuning into what number 1, 2, or 3, which pile 1, 2, or 3 is lighting up in your mind's eye. Which one feels most alive and pulsating and resonant? You can ask your guides. You can, part of this is also developing your intuition, so there's a lot of ways to do that. Okay. That one will come out like that. So Okay. Pile 1, 4 of blades in reverse. That's your deciding card. Pile 2, chaos. If the visuals are more helpful than the pile numbers. And pile 3, 2 of vessels in reverse. So which one are you feeling drawn to? And that will be your pile. So we'll start with pile 1. Your major arcana is death, the high priest in reverse, and the world. Yeah, so this is similar message I was feeling into yesterday. But similar cards, but let's see, maybe the message is a little different for our Filth Weaver collective. So first in this death card, I'm noticing these like plants growing out of these people's mouths. They look almost like bananas to me. And then I'm thinking of the book Fresh Bananas, and how when we listen to nature, when we protect nature, nature protects us. And like that feeling into like the soils and like the unknown and the mystery, and it's like there's been a lot of fear encoded into our a lot of people's like inner their like epigenetics, as there's been a lot of like inner transgenerational trauma for the past 1,000 years. And yes, humans have been fighting with each other and trying to grasp for power for a long time, but I say 1,000 years because that was the start of the colonial experiment, I'll say. And so yeah, there's like death. Our ancestors who are dead. There's like life, and who make up the soil. There's life growing out of their mouths. There's plants growing out of their mouths. An expression of Source's love, the Divine's love, through what we speak. But in this image, it's like what the dead speak. So maybe the dead, people who have died, ancestors who have died and passed on, I'm feeling into this like grief of they did not speak life. They spoke out of fear, which the High Priest in reversed is like kind of that self-destructive energy of like, well, if our essence is love, if our nature is love, then why do people act out of fear and project that fear onto us? And this hand is like holding, it looks like tweezers or something, but to me it also seems kind of like wait, is this gonna focus? It also seems like a tuning fork, and with this need to retune to that sense and that self-perception of inner love and being love, being expression of Source's love. And so then we have the world that comes out from that. So in here I'm drawn to this sheep. There's a little lamb that's like nuzzling the tiger. So this like gentleness, but also ferocity. And that's what's protecting the egg. And the snake wrapped around the egg. So like to me right now, what I feel in that is like generating. What are we generating? And the egg being like the source of life. And like when the snakes are coiled around the egg, there's two snakes, they're coiled around the egg. What are we generating in our environments to create an environment where we can emerge from the egg? And yeah, when that is attuned to our vibration of being an expression of divine love, that's where you're at, pile number 1, or perhaps what you needed to hear. And this like ferocity of the tiger and the lamb is what's protecting that like precious cycle of generation. And it's the world card, so the sense is that like you might be drawn to one of these aspects or the other. You might be more drawn to the snake or the egg or the tiger or the lamb, but or the flames or whatever is here. But it's the world. And so in our larger selves, in our interconnected identities, we are all of these creatures. So stretching to expand our sense of self as like multifaceted and multidimensional, and just feeling into all of those qualities. And perhaps it's that like you are being protected, or perhaps you have received some gentleness in your life, and that's allowing you to feel into being more conscious about what it is you're generating in your life, being more loving in how you're generating that. I'm noticing like my throat's a little scratchy. I'm noticing kind of like a shakiness. So what's in that? Because we also have the 4 of Blades in reverse. So I'm thinking that like you were fighting. You're fighting, and now a portal is opening for you to see like you're not actually caged into the old world that you were fighting. It's like you're realizing I think there's like a softening in the edges, and like the walls are kind of melting away, and you're feeling into like this cosmological orchestration that's bigger than you, and feeling into your individual part in that, but also in this attunement, retuning yourself to love, then you can generate for more resonance. Yeah, and I think that can be really powerful and kind of like an awakening, to step into that kind of power within yourself, the power of love within yourself, like your individual self and your larger self, that Ramana Maharshi calls it the larger self, like this consciousness and like this permeating substratum that's everything arises from and everything returns to, like this eternal space where yin and yang emerge from. And like being able to just feel into this larger sense, and not needing to like be concerned about like the overwhelm of needing to control all of that, or needing to be responsible for all of that, but more so like tuning into what's the love, where is your love emanating, how is your love emanating, and maybe there's something, maybe there's some tenderness, or maybe there's a feeling that you're experiencing right now that you're really needing to tend to. And as you tend to that, that can be part of the tuning process. Because we can't have compassion or understanding for other people if we don't have that for ourselves. I mean the people we don't. Like it might be easier to have understanding for people who we really care about in our lives, but people that we think are crazy, violent, horrible people, maybe our ancestors, maybe people that we see out in the world right now, compassion really is understanding, and having a sense of understanding why this is happening. And so when you can understand yourself instead of feeling like you need to control yourself in order to survive, like attuning to the love emanating from within that you are, and seeing even your discomfort as that love, because that being able to sense that and stay with it, that is a form of courageous love, of being able to stay with yourself and not abandon yourself, not need to distract yourself, and to really stay with it and like learn how to tend to what it is that you need. Because we might not be able to stop the violence, some of the violence that's happening in the world immediately, but in these larger cycles, when we can hold that understanding for ourselves and others, then what we're generating can have that integrated more and more. And I'm like saying, as I'm saying that, I'm like squeezing my right ankle. It's like feeling this tension of like we might feel like we want to get there so fast. But if this trauma has started 1,000 years ago, this is like shifting to experimenting with a world based on love and understanding that can take some time. And so when we feel that tension, just notice it and just become the witness to everything that you sense and accept it and allow it to reveal to you its own wisdom. Okay, I think we're complete with pile number 1. So, in pile number 2, we have the chaos. If you're pile number 2, here we go. The High Priestess, Judgment, and Temperance. This pile has a different feeling. There's like, with the Judgment, I'm feeling this like stone, like concrete, not infinite, but like concrete, this like hardness, unmoving sense. It's this like, feel it in my gut of like this core feeling of something that you might be facing. And then on one side is the High Priestess with this veil and the snake coiled around the concrete pillar. And then on the other hand is Temperance. One foot on land, 1 foot in the water. So here I'm feeling this balance between like black and white, and like this sense, this like unmoving sense, unshakable sense of like something. What is this something? It's just a clear boundary. And then on one hand, it's like tuning into that intuition. There's just one snake in this image, I think. Oh no, there's 2 pillars, there's 2 snakes, okay. That quality of those snakes representing the regeneration we were talking about in the last reading. But in this, it's almost like the temple, like, and the pillars are like holding space for that, and the High Priestess is like fully living in her egg. Like she's emerged, she's in like, she's feeling those deep currents, she's sensing, she has this thing of smoke. She's clearing, she's tuning into that clear sense. And then on the other side is Temperance, where like being able to feel the emotions while also be grounded. So this pile feels like really stable and really in tune. And the feeling of chaos is like, chaos is not chaos. Chaos is not instability or being out of control. Chaos is like this multi-dimensional, beautiful flow that like we might, the domination mindset might see it as chaos, but like where the High Priestess is, this is feeling into more of a harmony and really understanding why things are happening, how they are happening. And so the judgment in between these two sides feels like really balanced between this like inner sense of knowing and also allowing what's arising to arise and like be moved through. So with the High Priestess, I'm feeling this sense of like being consulted or maybe guiding others. You might be guiding others, perhaps to find this sense within themselves, which feels like meta in terms of like me saying that, and it's like, well, am I doing that? I hope so. Is that really what I want to say? I guess it's not about whether I hope for anything. It's really about you connecting to that. And so this might just be a blip confirming that for you. Because if you've reached this point, like there's no way that I'm personally responsible for that. You and your journey, like I feel like you've perhaps worked hard or like just been devoted to cultivating your connection to yourself and the divine, and it's an honor for you to be here with me as our beings converge somehow in the ethers. So yeah, there's just like this strength in your core. I'm feeling this like, yeah, this sense come up. So is there anything else for pile number 2? I'm gonna pick a card from the Liberation Tarot. Just tuning into the cracks, tuning into the filth. What filth does pile number 2 need to integrate? And perhaps how? Any messages related to that? Like, okay. Ancestors. Okay, so your ancestors are coming through. There's this jellyfish. So perhaps your ancestors want to tell you something. I'm seeing like some sort of contained shape that's like flexible and movable. Like, I'm hearing like snake, torpedo, like column, but yeah, what is in that? It's maybe a message or a scroll. So yeah, it sounds like you need to, there's a message from your ancestors in your inbox, and it's about something that's growing in your life, something that has been contained. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. So, yeah. And maybe you already have a feeling that like you need to check in with your ancestors. So, let this be confirmation for that. Is there anything else? One more card? One more message? I'm hearing be true to who you really are. What does that mean? Unshaken, unbroken, unfounded, derailed, pretendian, defaulting to the normal gaze. Okay. So there might be something here about in your ancestors connecting with your ancestral practices. Maybe that's part of the message that was contained. It's like, yeah, if you are not connected with your ancestral practices, or if they have been lost, then they want to find you. Like they've been kind of like preserved. I'm seeing in this like almost like time capsule torpedo thing, and it's like they have been preserved in spirit, and you can access them. So feeling this sense of unraveling in my shoulders, and part of the message in the first message was like related to ancestral shit. So maybe you want to watch that, or maybe you already know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But it's like, let the practices that you have been cultivating kind of help you to bridge with your ancestors. And I'm feeling this like cool energy move throughout my body. I think that could be really refreshing and clarifying, and also like related to your sexual energy and what you're creating. That this can clarify that for you if you're wanting to create something. Like, even if there's one ancient ancestor, maybe you have a bunch of shitty ancestors who did a bunch of fucked up stuff. Don't connect with them initially. Connect with your most ancient and kind and wise ancestor who like can feel into your tenderness and guide you. So invite this being in to guide you. I invite you to invite this being in into your awareness. And to I had this kind of like feeling of like, and then offer something to the earth, but then it's like not because I'm telling you to, like offering something to the earth or to your ancestors from your heart, from a place of generosity, if you feel so called. Even if it's just like, I don't know how to connect with you and I want to, and please like show me how. Like writing them a note, or building like an altar and placing stones, connecting with nature. If you're not on your ancestral homelands, which a lot of people, like Europeans in America are not, then offer gratitude to the land. I'm feeling this sense of extending your feeling of knowing down into the earth and starting to feel into the memory of the earth. And cultivating a tenderness for this. And there's a lot to grieve. It might feel like a lot at first, but this is part of rehumanizing ourselves. And really weaving back the spirit and the material together. So yeah, I'd love to hear what was stirring and alive for you in this. Let's be in conversation with me, with you, with each other. And yeah, I just feel gratitude in my heart for this, Okay. Pile number 3. Moving on to pile number 3. Woohoo! Okay, we have the Empress in reverse. This Mamacita. The Wheel of Fortune. And the Emperor. Like, keeps trying to focus on my face, so, okay. 2 of Vessels in reverse. That's what the Liberation Tarot had for us. So, what's going on? So, that feeling of like, that's like, I was focusing in on this, like the wheel this wheel that is like, the wheel is made up of eyeballs and perception, and they're all inflamed, and so it might feel like too much, like, I am being perceived too much, and like, by the Wheel of Fortune, maybe the potential of like actually coming into union with your deep knowing is intimidating. And this, the Empress holding these poppies. She's in reverse. It's like her head's like, she's upside down. Her head's in the underworld. The Emperor's right side up. So yeah, in the cracks, in these cracks, in this filth, it looks like the Empress is just going head first down into the deep. Really in that space of like unknown, and feeling her feelings, really feeling her feelings, and maybe really feeling that grief, and maybe that feeling of like, it's like, I'm not ready to come into my fortune yet, like this is I'm just processing this. I'm processing my roots being a part of me, and like, yeah. So you might just be in the grief. And this Emperor is like standing on a mountain cliff thing, like looking over and seeing this flower at the center, and so maybe they're watching you. Maybe the Emperor part of you, or let me see. It's like you're being looked over in your grief, like you are feeling your grief because you actually are in a safe enough space to feel it. And the Emperor is holding that space for you. Or perhaps the mountain is holding that space for you. Whatever it is, it's a solid energy, very slow moving energy, like the mountains, that's like this. We're holding you in your grief as you dive down into feeling like all of what we are. And bells are ringing. I don't know if you can hear that outside. So I just looked at the time. It said 44 minutes and 44 seconds. But yeah, we got the Two of Vessels in reverse. So like, maybe you're craving, like wanting to connect with people, and maybe you're not really able to in this grief, or maybe you want to connect with people in a certain way. You want to have like a nice little tea party, but this is not a nice little tea party. This is like a really intense trip. And but you're still being held in it. So yeah, just in feeling all of this, notice what you feel in hearing this. I'm noticing the flames of the wheel of fortune, like spinning, all perceiving, and this like in the grief feeling also, it's like anger, like wanting to burn it all down. So you may be feeling heat rising. And that heat rising is the new life birthing from the soil. And it will happen when it's ready. And that wheel will turn in time. And even the Wheel of Fortune, there's these little creatures like watching out for you. They're like kind of like gargoyles, kind of like angels, kind of like cat angels. And then down below there's more creatures with wings. So yeah, it's this, I'm having this sense that you're really protected, and that the guardians of the wheel are also your guardians, because you are maybe on the wheel, or if you're feeling gripped and like you're identifying with your grief, or like you're identifying with the emotions, or you're identifying with any part of your ego, your body, your thoughts, your mind, like those are all changing things. And even if you are identifying with them, like there's protectors and guardians of the wheel that's like as they change through that. And at the same time, like if you can witness yourself in your grief, witness yourself in your anger, then you get off the wheel. And your sense of self expands into spaciousness. And then what? And then the wheel keeps turning, but it's not controlling you, it's just moving through you. And then you can have choice in how you want to engage with the wheel, with the dance, with the Layla. I'm like holding my shirt right next to my solar plexus, so even the light, I'm thinking of like even the light that shines, even the sun sets and rises, like all of that is a part of the wheel. Mine and your existence is a part of the wheel, and like our sense of this larger self expands beyond that. Ramana Maharshi says, what is unchanging? The substratum that everything emerges from and returns to. So, yes. Feel your grief. But you don't need to identify with it. Just move through it as your sense of self expands and you gain more understanding of your larger self. Then your presence, your capacity to be present expands. And we can get free. So I feel like that's complete for pile number 3. Let me know. Let me know how you felt with this. Let me know what was stirring for you in this. As I say that, I'm also thinking like, as we are all extensions of the self, just, I guess, greetings to our larger being. I think it can feel really nourishing. Feelings of nourishment can arise when we can engage with each other with this consciousness. So, yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you for feeling and flowing, and yeah, I guess until next time, Filth Weavers, may our weaving of filth be a dance of consciousness